Hello, I am Madison, and I will be comparing my lifestyle and culture now to that of Jesus' culture and lifestyle then in Palestine. First off, there were no actual defined roads back in Palestine. Instead, there was dirt tracks from where people had traveled long distances. Nowadays, people in current Western society have defined cement roads which are traveled on in cars, as we don't travel great distances anymore on foot because we don't have to. We also don't use donkeys and horses for travel because we have cars. Landscape in Palestine was very different from the landscape here in Saskatchewan, as we don't have deserts or seashores in our geography. Instead, we have plains of farmland and steep valleys that shape our land and Saskatchewan. Shelter during the times of ancient Palestine relied heavily on geography, as they built their houses into the surrounding landscape like hillsides and caves, as opposed to my culture, who builds them onto the land. When houses weren't melded into the landscape, they were predominantly made with mud and clay. Today, houses are made from wood or brick with electricity and plumbing installed, which people in Palestine have not created or learned about yet. One thing that both Palestine and Saskatchewan have in common is that we value meal times and take time out of our schedules to eat and socialize with others. Although people back then tended to not have a wide variety of meal choice that we have now. Specifically, they would regularly eat just bread and fish with wine. At these meal times, they ate outside with their hands instead of cutlery, as opposed to eating inside with cutlery like in my culture. Drinking wine more than water was also a part of the Palestine culture, and it is not a part of my culture. We are encouraged not to drink alcohol as much, and certainly drink more water than wine, as we see it as bad for your health. An additional reason for them drinking wine more than water can be attributed to how water was not a plentiful source as it is now. We no longer have to consider our use of water as much, even though we probably should. Saskatchewan and Palestine both share wheat as their most common grain and crop. Therefore, bread was such a staple meal back then. Also share a lot of the same wildlife, like geese, wolves, birds, fish, bears, foxes, porcupines, pigs, roosters, hens, and donkeys. Although Palestine hadn't actually seen domesticated dogs or cats yet, whereas these two animals are very common pets in Saskatchewan. Palestine and Saskatchewan share the same diverse weather conditions as well, with very hot days, cold nights, and frequent storms. To combat the hot blazing sun in ancient Palestine, they would wear headdresses and turbans made from folded or wrapped cloth. To protect ourselves from the sun in Saskatchewan, we wear sunscreen and hats while hydrating with water throughout the day. Career-wise in Saskatchewan, we also have jobs other than trades like software engineering and psychology, whereas in ancient Palestine, their jobs were mainly trades like carpentry and tent making. In conclusion, Saskatchewan and Palestine are surprisingly similar and vastly different at the same time, which can be attributed to modern discoveries shaping our lives throughout history. At the core of modern Western culture, we do share similar values like that of Jesus's, such as the main one being the importance of family and community. This shows that no matter how we develop as a society, we will never lose sight of what's important to us. Thanks for listening.